sunk an enemy destroyer.
Hey team, it's Ripper here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Got the video that, first of all, congratulations. We made it to 1,200 subscribers, and we can't thank you guys enough. So we'll do a quick plug, a like, subscribe bell button below. Please help support the channel. If you want to be a part of this community and just what we're doing here, just having a blast, just having a good time, just learn about this game, learn about the community, learn about how to get better, and learning what we can do to serve one another, have a blast at the same time with this game about learning tactics, tricks, techniques, whatever it may be, tech seizure, and we're just having a blast doing it as well. And we're just learning every single day, and I can't thank you guys enough. So let's get right to it. The name of the video today is how do I build Ripper style battleship captains builds and battleship builds as well. So we already did a video. I'll put a link of it in the top right there about my builds for destroyers. Today is my second favorite class is the battleships, because that's actually what led me to the game. But I was not a DD main at first. I was actually a battleship, because what led me, and I've always told the story in the video, that what led me to this game is the fact that there's no other game that literally shows off the ability, arcadey style but realistic style, of shooting big guns on big platforms with tons of little secondaries that you see right here. These things are what really sold me. Like, just these little 127 millimeter, just tons of guns firing. You see the crews, you see in World War II videos, like all the crews working together in unison, firing guns all different directions. You know, everybody's working in unison to either thwart off enemy air attacks, whether they be shooting the small 127 millimeter guns on shore to support the troops, or even the big guns to not only attack other troops or battleships, whatever that may be. And it's just an awesome sight to see the amount of firepower that you can put to bear. It's like literally a floating fortress. It's kind of like you see the B-17s and B-29s, well, the guns on board shooting and everything. It's just everybody working together to accomplish a goal and fend off the enemy. But let's go right to it. That's why I enjoy the game, is battleships. So how do I build my battleships? Now, again, disclaimer, these are just my opinions. They're just really how I build, because you guys asked for it, and just how do I play in my play style. And maybe you can learn something from it. Maybe you can see something better. Maybe you see something I don't see. So let me know in the comments below. Or if you like it, use it, your ability, test it out, try something new, and let me know if what it works for you. So let's get right to it. The first battleship line is my very first one was actually the American line. Why not? We live in America. You know, I'm an American, and I actually enjoy these ships. And you know, I've actually been on some of these ships, because especially the Missouri. I've been on the Missouri, and walking on it, just seeing the coolness of the entire the size of it, the infrastructure and everything. It's just really, really awesome to see, and that's why I really played this line first. So let's get talking about it. Since again, disclaimer again, we're only going to do tier 9, tier 10, and super battleships maybe, just to see the kind of builds, because they're similar to tier 10. And those are really the only battleships I really play these days, and I'll show you the builds for those, again, disclaimer. So let's start with the first one I just see here. I'll click on it, Georgia. Woo, whoop-de-doo. One of the coolest battleships out there. It's a premium, I don't believe, again, I could be wrong again. I don't think Georgia's available anymore. Let me know if it is. I don't think it is in the armory. It used to be available for, I think, money back in the day, where you could actually pay for it. I think this is one of the first ones I bought for money. But anyways, it's really, really cool. The biggest selling point is the big caliber guns, 457 millimeters right there. 457 millimeter guns. Secondary batteries, 127 millimeters. You can see what led me to the game, and it shoots really, really fast. And like you see, the reloads are down to 4 seconds. So really quick reloads on the secondaries. If you actually, let me recall the commander here. I'll show you. Actually get it down to, let's see, yeah, 4 seconds with adrenaline rush and everything kicking in. It gets a little faster when you start seeing rocking and rolling. But really, really cool, very quick, very fast and nimble. It's kind of like a miniature, a major destroyer, because of the speed, the guns, the flexibility of it. So let's take a look at the build. All right, so let's look at how I build the battleship. Now, this is a full secondary style American class battleship. So Georgia, let's see, I believe you can actually do all of them like this, but the ones that I excuse me, focus on are Georgia, Massachusetts, and Ohio. Now, I didn't include Massachusetts because I don't really play it anymore, honestly. It's kind of a similar build though, but the problem is it doesn't have an extra slot, so you can play around with these. So that's why I only focus on tier 9, 10, and super ships. So the secondary focused American style battleships are to me, Massachusetts, Georgia, and Ohio. So let's take a look at the secondary style build, and you can see the build is very consistent amongst all of them. The first one is Auxiliary Armament Mod 1, which increases survivability. Again, you don't want to have these things knocked out so easily. There are other battleships like the Jean Bart and the French-style battleships that have the secondaries get knocked out so easily. I don't know why. It's just the way the coding is. But you definitely, in my opinion, if you want to build secondary focused battleships, then you're going to have this on to protect it the best you can. Why not? Because the other options really are just protecting the guns and magazine, but when are those going to happen? The damage control, obviously, we want to reduce the risk of catching fire and flooding, because why? If you're a secondary battleship, you're going to be brawling, basically. You're going to be charging in there, taking all the fire when nobody else is, and you're really just trying to minimize as much damage as possible. The other one doesn't really do you much. It's just risk of engine repair time. Really? I haven't really seen an engine knocked out of a battleship that often, so that's why I don't pick it. Doesn't give me that much. That's my reasoning. The secondary mod 1, secondary battery mod 1 is important because why? It increases the battery firing range, and that's exactly what you want to do if you want to focus on secondaries, to bump out the range of the secondaries. Otherwise, if you didn't take that, it'd be reduced by 20%. So yeah, why not? You know, other than that, the other ones are really main battery traverse speed. AA is trash in the game. The other one is range for your main guns and secondaries. But again, I noticed they only get 5%. I would rather take the full 20% to get that maximum range, right? And that's me. That's my play style. I would rather have the secondaries start firing as soon as possible. Again, the secondaries aren't the longest range. I mean, honestly, in reality, these guns should reach out to 12 and 15 kilometers. Because if destroyer guns, I mean, these little secondaries, have you noticed, there's 127 millimeters, which are destroyer caliber guns. If in the game, destroyers can shoot out to 12 and a half, 14, or 15, then they should be able to do that in secondaries, right? I don't understand why they don't do that. Again, wargaming, that's stupidity to me. But they want to make this game somehow balanced, I guess. The next one is Mod 4, and Mod 4 is a toss-up for a lot of you guys. Now, the reason why Georgia, I actually did a propulsion because I do a lot of stop-starting in this one. I noticed the damage con in the Georgia is battery style, is a battleship style, so the cooldown time is 73 seconds, which is just over a minute. That's not entirely too bad. So that I think I can survive. I think I can manage waiting 70 seconds to a minute. And also this, I mean, this right here, damage con 2 reduces the fire and flood time. Okay. I could see an argument using that one, but I anticipate getting brawled a lot. So I'm going to literally wait, and I'm going to have to kill the enemy faster because honestly, having burning and flooding while brawling is not a good combination because you're going to have to manage your damage cons and heals. That's why I said you have to practice this game, know how the mechanics works. So this, although it may be great if you're just in the back, you get set on fire, and you just somehow lose your damage con that far back, then okay, maybe you can have this. But since we're a Georgia battleship, Georgia's known for its speed and stop-starting ability, so I'm going to pick the propulsion because I want to stop-start and get going very, very quickly. See, because the top speed of the Georgia, let's see here, right here, 35 knots, and if you add the brisk or whatever, you can get it at 37 knots. So that is a definite must if you want to stop-start for a battleship because the Georgia is known for its speed. So that's probably the one difference in the Georgia right there. Otherwise, I would probably, for Ohio, all these other battleships, the other secondary focus, I would pick actually damage con to reduce the flyer flooding just because why not? I'd rather reduce it. But the Georgia, man, we're a fast we're a big destroyer moving forward. The next one is concealment. Concealment is definitely must. Why not? I mean, these other ones doesn't really give anything, so we might as well take the concealment down to 14.8, especially the commander build. The auxiliary mod 2. Now, this is secondary focus. Now, the other one in the only on the side of the American battleships, they have the maximum minus 11% shell dispersion, which I think is very valuable. If you were shooting long range and sniping, but since I don't care about that, and the Georgia's pretty accurate enough, I think I can do away with it and just have a full secondary trolling kind of thing, get better AA and better reload time on the secondary guns. Why not? I mean, I'm just having fun with the secondaries. You can also make an argument for the main battery too. I don't really select this because 10%, 12% off of big caliber guns doesn't really make much of a difference. I can wait maybe 2 seconds to shoot because honestly, with a battleship, 1 to 2 seconds is not going to kill me. For destroyers, maybe because I need all those guns with so much HP. I can take the damage away in 2 seconds and just have fun with the secondaries and just getting as much as I can because secondaries are firing all the time. So that's the way I look at it. That's the secondary build for the Georgia kind of style line, and then nothing else here is normal different. The biggest ones on the flags, really, I definitely want to have the India Delta to what's it called? Reduce or HP restored when using. So I get more HP healed or restored 20% when I need it. So that's why I like that HP amount restored when using the squadron repair consumable. So it gives me more repairability, basically. These other two starting fires, yeah, whoop-de-doo, consumable. Speed is definitely, you want to have extra speed in there. And see, because if I take this off, what's the speed? Yeah, see, you can see the speed went down to 33. You put the flag on, it gets up to 35. Woo, whoop, wow, 2 knots. Pretty good for a battleship. Let's see, what is this one? Fire extinguishing time, definitely must, 20%. And then you want to have the flood. I don't think I have the flood fact. Where is it at? There it is. This is the flood one. Reduce flooding time 20%. Again, without these, man, 20% is a big difference. I mean, it reduces your flooding time very, very well. So I encourage you guys to have that. And that's why you can see you can survive a little bit longer, especially if you start adding, this in here as well, another 15%. So, man, you could have a lot of reduced burning time if you get that going. And then the last one is Mike Yankee 6. It's the secondary firing range plus 5%. So that's why you can get these things out to 11.3. So again, very, very important to bump these things out as far as you can and get them firing as quick as you can. I've heard people talk about, hey, let me not focus on the range of the secondaries because, I think they're important. I think they're important, especially if you're playing DDs and submarines in the game. And you want those extra guns to start fires. American secondaries start really, really good fires. So getting them out to 11.3 rather than having 7 means that you don't have to push in that far deep in to get them going. And that's what I'd really recommend. Now, Halsey right here. Halsey's cool because it's got obviously, if you get Confederate, you get the main battery reload time down to minus 20%, which is really, really, really cool. And if you also get, let's see here, activated using double strike. If you get this double strike, your detectability goes down 10%. How often does that happen? Very rare. Double strikes are here and there, but very rare, and I can't rely on them. This one I can rely on if I get Confederate, but again, that requires a lot of shooting, which we normally do in this style of battleship. So the first one is Demolition Expert. Again, this is a new build. I'm swapping this out because why? I've noticed the meta has changed. And here is my reasoning why. And you can see in my previous videos why I've been doing things against the flow. A lot of people say, hey, this is not what they recommend in wargaming. And exactly, because this is how I play. Again, disclaimer. And this meta has changed with the introduction of carriers, with the introduction of submarines, the HE spamming destroyers nowadays. It is becoming a very, very different world, and you got to basically adapt and overcome. So I've tried this new build out, and it's worked for me for this Halsey build a little bit better. The first one is Demolition Expert. Why? Chances of causing a fire with secondaries, main guns, 1% is really, really good. And explosion attacks on submarines is better as well. This is very good because you want to start fires. Why not? You could do... I don't switch shells that often. Honestly, I'm always firing AP in battleships. And this one doesn't really do me any good. I don't really care. Incoming fire alert. I'm getting shot at anyways. Why not? I'm always getting shot at a battleship. I don't need to be alarmed about that. And then obviously risk of modules being incapacitated. Dude, modules break. So what? Minus 30% or whatever. The emergency repair specialist. Why do I pick this one? Why not? Take minus 3% off your damage control and your repair party cooldown time. That's the best I could do. I'd rather have a reduction in time, at least something, right? Better than nothing. The next one this is the new one right here, Brisk. Brisk increases the ship speeds while remaining undetected by 10%. So that means I can get this thing up to adding another 10% here is about 35 divided by 10. That's 3.5, right? You can get this thing up to maybe an extra 38 knots. Let's see here, 35%. I'm just doing a calculator math right here. 35 times, what is it? 10%, right? 1.1. 38.5. So that's nothing to gawk at. 38.5 knots in a Georgia battleship. That's like destroyer-like speed. So why not keep this going, right? Because you're undetected in the back, get to one side of the map quicker, faster, and then when you're undetected, you can use that extra speed to maneuver and get around your enemy as the more enemies die. I used to have grease the gears, but you know what? The Georgia batteries, the Ohio batteries, look, the 180 turn time's 45 seconds. Ohio is it down to 30 seconds, I believe? Let me look at Ohio here. Ohio is 30 seconds. So adding an extra, what is it, 10%, 25%? You take it down to 25%. Yeah, you get the guns there fast, but you know what? Honestly, the way these battleships turn, move around, it really doesn't matter, in my opinion, on the turning radius of guns. I'd rather have something better where I'm moving around. Again, it's your opinion. I used to do this, but honestly, the way we're playing these days, the guns are already quick enough. And I want to get around the map a little bit faster. So I'd rather take the speed rather than turning the guns, because these, again, battleships take forever to turn, and the guns are going to outturn the battleship. So eventually they'll get there. So especially for this line of battleships, you can make an argument for maybe the bigger battleships like Satsuma or Yamamoto, Musashi, big caliber guns. If they take forever to turn, maybe you want to consider this. Honestly, I don't need it for the American-style battleships because they're pretty quick as it is already. IFHE, I really don't see a need for it because most of the time you're shooting AP, and then the secondaries are, you don't really need second. I mean, bumping these secondaries up to 20, whatever it is, 4 or 27, whatever that may be, doesn't really give you any much more. 21 millimeters is just fine enough to start fires, really. That's all you're trying to do. And superstructures are at 19 millimeter armor, so penetrating 19 millimeter armor is sufficient with these secondaries. Vigilance I have on certain other battleships, not for this one. I don't need it because I can acquire torpedoes later on. Prior target, everybody shoot at me. I don't need to know that. AA's trash. Don't need to increase that. Okay, the next row. Now, this row is very, very important because this could go all over the place. I don't care about AP damage. I can do that, but we're focused on secondary. So the first ones are secondary range. So another bump up 20%. You get the secondaries out 11.3 maximum right there. Adrenaline rush is a must for any ship because you want to get, as you're taking damage, you want to increase reload times, or reduce the reload times, that is. And then you have basic survivability. Now, this is a survivability build because why? I'm going to be pushing in a lot, so why not reduce this as much as you can? Because I find that the other ones I don't have enough points for, because I must have, if I'm going to be brawling, fire prevention expert, because I'm going to be absorbing a lot of fires. So in combination with this and basics of survivability, I'm reducing as much fire as possible, taking much damage as possible, and reducing the modules as best as possible, and reducing flooding and fire recovery time. Why? Because I'm pushing in so hard. Concealment. I used to have concealment because why? I mean, if I added the concealment in, I would actually bump this down to about 14-ish, maybe, just below that. And I find that 0.8 kilometers doesn't really offer me much. So let's see there. Let me do the math again. For 14.8. And then what was this? Concealment minus 10%. Okay, so times 0.9. So I'm getting down to 13.2. Let's see here. 14.8 times 0.9. I'm getting at about 13.2-ish, I believe. I think that's how the math works. But it doesn't really benefit me because, one, I'm a battleship. I mean, things outspot me like crazy to the moon. So 14.8 is manageable. And if I shoot, my plume, as I fire, remember, you have to understand the mechanics of the game. As I shoot my main caliber guns, which I do a lot, that increases it out to the maximum range of the guns. So if it goes, my detectability goes out to 20 every time I shoot. See, if you can see right there, detectability after firing main guns on the battleship to 20 kilometers. That's a long range. So concealment doesn't really work in that manner because I'm brawling like crazy. And I'm already I'm already a battleship as it is. So having 14.8 or 13.3 doesn't, or 13.4-ish, doesn't really benefit me much. I think I can survive okay with 14.8, and like I said, things outspot me anyways. So why not take a skill that's a little bit more beneficial and active all the time, like fire prevention? You can make the case if you want extra heal. I like fire prevention to prevent the fires because people shoot HE at me all the time. Main battery loot, again, if I have to get within secondary range for this to work. Now, am I going to be in secondary range a lot with the Georgia? Absolutely. Does the 10% really give me an edge? Not really. I'd rather take maybe one of these two here and instead of this, because you can make, if you were going to sacrifice something, I would sacrifice this and this in order to take the main battery. But 10% is not the end of the world. What is 10% off of 26 seconds? That's 2.6 seconds. I can wait 2.6 seconds to fire the main guns if I'm in secondary range. So that's okay. And the biggest one you really want to have for secondary focused battleships is this skill right here, the manual battery aiming time. So what this does is it subtracts, first of all, secondary battery reload time is down 10%, okay? Permanent effect. That's definitely a must. So not only you get a better reload rate, but gradually, as you can read right there, when activated, it gradually increases secondary accuracy while firing at the target. So as you're shooting the secondaries at a target and you left click and left control on a target, you see the A, and I'll show a video of it. You obviously, I think those veteran players that play know what this means. Like you hold left control or and then left click on the ship that you want to primarily focus on the secondary armaments. What that does is it selects that target, and maximum secondary battery shell dispersions when fired at the priority target is minimized by 50%. So the dispersion gets better over time. Time to reach maximum efficiency, you have to be shooting at the target for 45 seconds. So while you're shooting at a target with secondaries and you primary focus on it, the guns are going to get accurate, more accurate on that particular target. So for example, if you're shooting something on the left of the ship, the secondary guns get more accurate to the left of the ship only on that particular target you designate. If you designate a destroyer on the right, then you start getting dispersions on the right. Now the cool thing is, if you read here, the accuracy decreases if the guns aren't used for 15 seconds. So let's say the secondaries are firing. After 15 seconds, the accuracy slowly decreases. So why? The secondaries on Ohio and Massachusetts and Georgia are very, very accurate. I think they're one of the most accurate in the game. That when you have this, they definitely must have skill because you want to be hitting those things out at distance, especially destroyers. I've seen these things kill destroyers out to 10 kilometers easily because they just are so accurate. It's really awesome. The computer gunners are pretty good on the Ohio and Georgia style battleships. And I think this is a definite must have skill for the secondary focus. Again, what did I say? Focus style battleship. These other ones don't really benefit me too much. I've noticed the way I've protected my damage con and used my heals is exactly a testimony as to why. So while we're on the secondaries, let's go Ohio. We're going to recall the Ohio again. Ohio is Halsey as well, using the same build. And also the secondary builds is the same as well. Main armament, damage con, this range, damage. Okay, now this one I did damage con because why? The only difference with Ohio is the speed is not like that of the Georgia. So if you notice here, maneuver, I only got 29 knots, okay? So even if I bumped even if I bumped it, getting to 29 knots is not the coolest or greatest. And honestly, that's why I had to add brisk to it because brisk then gives me, a little bit more speed. 29, it gets it up to 33, I believe, 33.5, 29 times 10%. Yeah, it gets me up to about 32 knots. So giving me that extra 3 knots there, 33 knots is pretty decent for an Ohio-style battleship. So it's pretty quick getting around the map. Because like I said, the turn radius of the guns doesn't help me. IFHE doesn't help me. Torpedoes, yeah, I'm going to get torp no matter what, and whatever. In submarines, you can't, even if you acquire the torpedoes that far out, they home on you. So what's the point? So let's see, what is it? Torpedo protection and damage reduction plus 7%. Yeah, so it doesn't really benefit me. I think speed on a battleship really helps me a lot to maneuver and get out of dodge. So that's the style of the Ohio, the Georgia, and the Massachusetts builds if you do it the same way. Again, of that style of play for this kind of full secondary brawling. Let's get to my favorite battleship lately, which is the Illinois. Illinois has been a cool ship. Let's take a look at it right here. This is the Illinois right here. Really, really awesome. What is different about it? It's got the Des Moines-style caliber guns, 12 of them, with 2 sets in the front, 1 set in the back. It's got the secondaries, but they are not the same secondaries as Ohio and Georgia and Massachusetts. They're not as accurate, and the reload times are a little greater, 6 seconds, as you can see right there. So they're not the best, and I've tried it, and the build, they don't just have the accuracy. They're just not there. And they don't fire just as fast as the other ones. But really the play style of this one is it's a battleship with cruiser style guns with destroyer like speed. You can get this thing up to 37.5 knots. So that's the style of the Illinois. Now look at the build I have. It's not what they recommend on Wargaming. I actually do this for my play style as well. Again, we're not playing secondaries. Just do main armament to protect the guns and protect. Let's see here. Main battery repair time, main battery survival, risk of torpedo being coming. Well, we don't have torpedoes anyway. So this is really just protecting the main caliber guns, and nothing else really helps me here. Damage con, why? Reducing the risk of fire and flooding, why not? Now, the secondary battery guns, I want the secondary bumped out as maximum as possible. Why? Honestly, the main battery, I don't pick this, the plotting room, because why? I already have the guns out to 18.5. That's good enough. AA is trash. And then obviously main battery modification, the traverse speed is already quick enough. So again, the only one that really benefits me for this particular playstyle, what I'm doing, is secondary battery. So I'm going to bump the secondaries out, as you can see, out to 10.5 kilometers. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And damage con true, because why? Now, I could do propulsion, but why not? It's already fast as it is. I'm going to be brawling a lot. So why not reduce the flooding and recovery time as maximum as possible? Concealment, obviously, reduce the concealment to, let's see here, what do we got this thing down to? 14.3, which is manageable. It's okay. It's doable. And the main battery reload. Again, these are big caliber guns. Now look at this. I could actually do plotting room, but why do I care about the accuracy when I can pump out more shells? Because why? In this one, this is cruiser-like guns that reload at 7.9 seconds. I want to get this thing down as fast as possible, fastest firing. I want to get it down to maybe 6 seconds. Okay, that extra second may help with 10 of these guns shooting that fast. You're talking about an extra, what is it? Maybe 10,000 worth of damage every extra second. So that's good. I like that. The accuracy, you know what? You're shooting 12 guns on a battleship with every 6 seconds. You don't really care about accuracy. You care about volume, right? And then now we talked about that. Here's now the standard heals and flags, and like you always have, bump out the secondary range, speed, HP reheal, and so forth, right? Here's the and you want to have the maximum flooding and recovery time. Now, why do I care about the secondary range? Now take a look at this. Now let's go, I'm going to skip right to the meat potatoes here. The reason why is right here. This close quarters combat is, remember I told you about it reduces the main battery load time to 10%. That, when you're inside of secondary range. So when you're spotted within secondary firing range, you get an extra 10% reload. Look at that. You can get an extra 10%. 7.9, that's 0.7 second faster reload time. I'm trying to get as fast at firing guns as possible, so why not? I'm moving in, I'm brawling, and doing the best I can with these big battleship style hull with cruiser-like guns. I'm gonna be brawling. And so that means I have to have the secondary range, long-range secondary battery shells right here to increase that range. And that's really it. I don't take manual secondaries because why? I'm not using secondaries as much. I just need the range to activate this perk. Now, you're going to argue maybe 2 perks for the price of 1 skill. That can be debatable, but I'll show you why. There's really nothing else that I see that's really beneficial in this particular build class. So let's take a look. Demolition Expert, start fires more with your main battery guns, 1%, very good, because we are starting fires like crazy on the ship. Emergency Repair Specialist, again, reducing damage con repair party by 3%, the time, cooldown time. The brisk, speed. Now, actually, I told you, this thing is a destroyer. I mean, 34, you get this up to 37.5 knots, because this thing is a beast when you need to be moving around the map very, very quick. I don't need FHE. Look, the main battery guns pin a lot of armor. 34 millimeters, that's more than enough you need. You just need to get over that 32 millimeter threshold. That's good enough for me. The guns already turn pretty quickly. Look, the 34.5 second turn time, that's great. That's fabulous already. You don't need to be turning any more fast. I mean, that's Ohio-like speeds, okay? So you're good right there. I'm a battleship. I'm going to be acquired by torpedoes anyways. I don't care by 25%. I'm going to be moving all the time, and I'd rather be a moving target than a stationary target. We're not going to be doing that. Everybody, priority target's not important to me. I'm always getting fired at, and AA is trash. So here's the most important role here. AA is trash, don't need it. This skill right here, 0.8%, I'm not a brawler. I'm not a ship that can survive that much, because look at the survivability. I'm only at 68,000 HP, so trying to rely on heals is a very, very poor attitude to have about it. I'd rather have fast-firing guns or some kind of maneuverability to get a dodge rather than relying on a heal that I can only use at a particular time. It's like situational. So why not use basic survivability to reduce the fire flooding time, right? I've already got that. I got the flag on. I got the damage con. I'm did the best I could to reduce the amount of fires I can and flooding. Adrenaline rush, I definitely must on all ships. And then secondary range, we already talked about that. And APs, I'm not using AP shells as much, and it increases your flooding and recovery time. This is the terrible skill to ever think about. Don't ever do that on battleships, because why increase your flooding and recovering time for AP shell damage? Okay, that's not a given. Concealment, I already talked about. Why do I need to bump this down another 10%? 14.3. Bumping it down, I'm always shooting, so I'm always revealing myself. So as I'm firing the guns, that's the whole point of this game. I'm going out to 18.5 anyways, so why not? I mean, I'm going to be detected from the moon by submarines, ships, CVs. The meta just doesn't support this concealment expert anymore. It used to when you want to go in there and brawl and everything, but there's not much brawling anymore. It's like long-range shooting. So if you're shooting, you're going to reveal your position and bump it out to 18.5 anyway, and nothing you can do can conceal that. So you're just going to be firing. So why not take something more appropriate like fire prevention expert, reduce the amount of fires you can by number of fires by 1, and reduce the catching of fire by 10%. And you're just reducing that and holding off as much as possible, because eventually you're going to get set on fire. No matter how much you want, the amount of fire, this is the way I look at it. DD players just keep shooting at a battleship, it'll catch on fire eventually. But with this skill, you're reducing it as much as possible, right? Having extra heal doesn't really help me at this point, because what's the point of using this if I'm getting shot at anyways and your HP gets reduced, and no matter how many heals that you have, the way the game works, once you start taking damage that you cannot repair back, especially getting hit by AP shells, you cannot get that damage back once it's been taken away from you. What I'm talking about is when you get hit, you see the gray area on your HP pool, then that's the amount of heal that you can come back to. But if you're getting hit with AP shells, or forgive me if I'm wrong, there's a mechanic in the game where, if you're getting hit with AP or some other, maybe sap too, it just takes away that much damage and you can't get it back. I think it's by 50% or something of that nature. I don't know the mechanics. I'm very bad at that. I don't care about the numbers of the game. I care about more of the tactics and the skills and what I see and how to react to that. And that's what I'm seeing, is that this skill doesn't really help me as much as it would to maybe a Conqueror or maybe some kind of zombie-like ship that has the amount of HP that you can get back. But again, the mechanics of the game, if you're getting, for example, I've noticed, like if you're getting hit with AP shells, it does take majority of the damage of that and you can't get it back. So this doesn't help me. Main battery close quarters expert, again, why? I already talked about it. Secondary range, I get better, 10% better reload. This skill doesn't help me at all. And of course, this last one, which is Furious, it really doesn't help me because I've tried it. I tried it one time in the ship where I'm catching on fire. Do I get a 5% reload time? Is it worth it? You know, losing all that HP for 5 seconds of reload time, or 5% of reload time. So what's 7.9? Let me do the math for you. What is 5% of 7.9? Is it worth it? 0.05. So that's 0.39 seconds. Is 0.39 seconds really going to help you at all in a game like this while you're on fire? I mean, you're losing HP every second. Well, does the 0.39 of extra reload time give you anything? Not really. That's my personal opinion on it. I would rather reduce the amount of fires as I'm taking, because there's going to be 5 people shooting at you. You might as well reduce as much as you can rather than get set on fire multiple times. And I'm not getting anything out because I can only shoot my guns at one person anyways. So why not just focus on absorbing damage from 3 or 4 players while I'm focusing firing on one person, right? So that's my build for the Illinois. Let's go to Missouri. Missouri was the Halsey. Again, the only reason I can do this is because Halsey is a premium commander, and Missouri is a premium ship, so I can move premium commanders back and forth on premium ships a lot easier. So whatever commanders I build for Ohio and Georgia with Halsey, I'm going to have to kind of use it with the Missouri. And I've noticed, honestly, the Missouri, it actually works. You only get secondaries out to 10.5. The secondaries are not the greatest. They're the old secondaries of the standard battleships of the Montana line and the Missouri line, the Iowa line. They're not the greatest, but you know what? This works for the kind of build I have. So for Missouri, the only thing I didn't, since I'm not focused on secondaries, is the main battery dispersion time, because you want the best dispersions on it. I guess since I'm not focused on secondaries on this ship, I could probably increase the turn time of the guns, but honestly, the turn time's good. AA is trash. The range on these battleship is decent enough. Why not just take a secondaries and get those things out further and start shooting earlier? Maybe I get a lucky shot on on a destroyer or something. And I would say I just pick the secondaries to protect them, because why not? This other one doesn't really benefit me either for protecting my main battery guns. I've noticed I've never had my Missouri guns knocked out. So let's go to Montana right here. One of my favorite OG battleships, probably one of the first battleships that I grinded out to on the American line. Montana is awesome still. And let's take a look at the build right here. Whoops, let me go back to equipment. How do I build the Montana? Main armament, I don't really focus on secondaries in the Montana. Damage con, reduce fire and flooding. I want the turnstile of the guns to turn faster, because that's all I'm doing is using the guns because I've got good range on it. I want these things turning as fast as Ohio's to 32.6 seconds. That's a pretty good speed. Reducing, I'm going to get shot at by everybody, so why not reduce fire flooding and getting torped at? Might as well reduce the flooding time. Concealment, yep, there's nothing else I can take, but concealment doesn't benefit me. What is this? Reduced? Yeah, I'm not spending a coal for this, but it does reduce your fire flooding a little bit, additional 10%, and protects your steering gears and rudder shift. Whoop-de-doo. Definitely must on the Montana. I'm not focused on the reload time. The reload time is, I'm not gaining much from like a few seconds, but I am getting a lot from accuracy, because as the accuracy of the shells, I want those things hitting, and you can tell this is the OG of broadside slamming. If you can get all 12 of these guns on target, dude, you take a lot of damage off a lot of ships, and it's really fun to do. Now let's take a look at the commander build of this. Again, the flags are kind of standard for the battleship. Now, the build that I picked for this commander for this particular Montana is that of survivability, because since I'm not focused on secondaries, this whole section right here, this L-shaped section, doesn't benefit me at all. So I'm not going to focus on that. And I guess you could argue, why did I do that on... No, actually, I didn't do it. Yeah, no secondaries abilities there. So therefore, no secondaries, no FIFHE, no fire. Now that means I only have a few left, and that's what I hate about wargaming, in the sense that they give you these perks that don't really benefit you that much. And I would like to argue to wargaming, you need to make these things better for battleships, honestly, because you're given things that really don't. Again, the AA is trash. I've never seen many people, more people. I've noticed. I'm not saying they don't. Some people don't really focus on these skills. So why have them? Because you're a battleship, you're not focused on secondary. You're AA. I mean, AA is trash. IFHE, most people don't, or heavy AP shells, but increase your fire flooding time, not really important. So let's go from top down how I build this. Again, reducing the damage con repair party times. You want the guns turning as fast as possible. You want this brisk going as fast as possible, because look at the speed. You can get it 32. Why not? Get up to 35 knots. Pretty good. I want to reduce the... this is all I could think of, because nothing else helps me. Why not just acquire the torpedoes out in the distance? I already know everybody's firing me. I don't need to know that information. If I see somebody firing me, whoop-de-doo. Adrenaline rush definitely must reduce as much time on the main guns. Again, brawling, survivability, reduce fire flooding. Concealment, I couldn't think of anything else to pick other than, well, why not just take concealment? Look, I told you, if I put concealment on battleships, I get it down to 14 kilometers. But again, I'm firing the guns all the time. So this really doesn't do me much, honestly, but I guess it's good enough to get you around the map temporarily. But with CV spotting you and submarines spotting you and destroyers spotting you, it's hit or miss right there. So this is all I can think of to get left. Fire, I don't want to be set on fire. No secondaries. Extra heal, whoop-de-doo. What's an extra heal going to give me? Why not just take concealment and fire prevention to protect against fire? So that's my build for the Montana, because I'm really focused on these. The 406 millimeter guns shooting at this range. I'm in the back. I'm kind of in the behind my majority of my fleet. I'm just shooting from afar. And that's the kind of style battleship play for the Montana and these kind of battleships. And you're going to notice the Montana is kind of standard across most of these battleships builds. But that's how it is. Let me know what you think. Now the next line, the German line. One of my favorite lines as well for secondaries. The Germans have one of the best secondaries in the game for battleships, so why not play them to the style of secondaries? So let's go ahead and look at it. Palmer, again, Palmer is available. Again, I had that wrong. Let me check out my video, but it's still available in the Armory for Cole. Check it out. But the Palmer is really, really good. A definite must-have. I would recommend if you're a secondary brawling kind of person. It's tier 9. So obviously build it for secondary build. So protect the secondaries, damage con time reduction, range of the secondaries, damage con time reduction of fire flooding time. Concealment is a definite must if you're going to be brawling, getting in there. So let's take a look at the concealment. Concealment is 13.6. You want to get there as quick as possible without being detected if you can. And then, of course, secondary reload time, you want to reduce as much as possible. So there you go. That's the build there. And, of course, you want to have a secondary range flag right there, as well as fire flooding reduction time, speed, and the healing, of course. These extra are just bonuses if you want them. Gunther Illusions, the perk is really, really cool for this commander. You definitely have to get it if I recommend it. Main battery reload time, if you get 140 hits with the main battery, you get a reload time of 7.5 seconds. So that means you're firing these main guns all the time. You want to get at least 140 hits. Let's see here, 140 times. You got to get, activates once per battle upon hitting enemy ships 140 times. That's a lot. I mean, that means you got to get 10 salvos off in the entire game if you got at least 4. If you let's say you got 12 guns. If you get 12 shells on target, that means times 10, that's 120 times. You got to shoot this thing at least 2 more times salvos. And if you got 30-second reload times, oh my God, I don't think you can get that many shells off in that amount of time to hit something. So good luck on that one. This is probably more beneficial on cruisers and destroyers. This is the one you want. Secondary battle reload. So if the secondary shells hit a ship 100 times, you get this perk activated. Reduces the reload time 15%. Really, really, really good. This perk right here activates, what is it? This is unavailable in clan and training battles. Keep that in mind. Aircraft preparations for CVs. And upon activate upon spotting every 3 enemy ships. So if you spot 3 enemy ships, and normally battleships don't spot that well, your HP, you get ship HP per second. So you get a better healing. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Let's see here. All right, let's start off right what I picked for this one. So in this sense, Good Illusion had this skill. Main battery, reduces the risk of turrets, torpedo tubes. And because we have torpedo tubes on these things, I said, why not reduce to 45%? Because I've noticed torpedo tubes are just knocked out so much lately. So why not take that one? We are brawling. So now the cool thing about this is IFHE. The difference with the German battleships is the German lines actually have a better armor penetration of HE shells. So you get this thing up to about 32 millimeters with IFHE. That's really, really good because you're pinning a lot of those cruisers and destroyers and maybe some battleships that have 32 millimeter armor. You're going to get these secondaries, these 105s already to 32. The 150s are already getting to above 32. 47 millimeters is just below 50. Not enough, but it's something, right? So as long as you're pinning 32 millimeters, that's good because that's probably the threshold of most ships out there. Anything above 32 is like heavy stuff with 50 millimeter armor plating. Yeah, you're out of luck on that one. So IFHE is definitely a must. I recommend it. Could you make an argument for brisk? Yeah, if you're brawling, but I'd rather take the extra 32 millimeters of pin because it's one of the only kind of lines that do that on the secondary guns. So why not make that a specialty right there? Turning radius of guns, brisk we talked about. Quick position torpedoes, we're already pushing in anyways. Okay, next line, the Super 8. Nope, I don't want to increase my fire flooding time, but I do want the secondaries and to bump out and get better accuracy like we talked about the American line. So if you're going to focus on secondaries, these two are a definite must. Adrenaline rush, reduce the reload time. And then since we're secondary brawling, I made the argument of, now the cool thing about this is you're getting down to 13.6, and maybe I have to argue since I use Lucians on Schlieffen and the Schlieffen lines, you need that concealment because you can get those things down to 12.5 concealment. We'll talk about that later. Fire prevention because we want to reduce fire chances, because you're pushing in so hard. So that's what I recommend for the Pommern. GK, similar style. This one on the GK, what is a GK? If you notice, again, look at video. The GK is available in Armory too. Again, the GK is 12 gun. It's kind of like the Montana style with 12 guns, but the secondaries are monstrous. This is the OG of secondaries. You get the secondaries out to 12.5 when you build it. That's why I build this particular one. Protect secondaries, damage con, reduction time, secondary range. Now, this one, reduce fire flooding. Concealment is a must. Now, this one is a unique perk. Could I have picked armament, secondary armament? Yes, minus 20% on the reload time. But I noticed the reload time on these guns is still 4 seconds. That's still good enough because what am I getting out of an extra 20%? Well, look at this one. I get main battery reload time of 10% with also secondary battery reload time of minus 5%. So, minus 15%. So I get main battery guns a reduction of 10% and secondary reload to 15. I'll take that. I'll sacrifice like 5% for a better 10% reload time, but my main battery fire range is reduced to 8%. Now, what is the main battery fire range? Main battery fire range is 19 kilometers. That I can do because why? I'm a brawling. I'm going in and brawling, and this is what this really helps the short, medium ranges. That's what the GK is really doing in the first place. So I can live with that. Secondary time, yeah, I'm okay with that. You can make I'm getting kind of the best of both worlds with this one, I think. This is probably why I picked that skill right there. You get hydro, heal, and so forth. Now, why did I pick extra heal? Okay, no extra heal. So you get a lot of heals in the GK. Now, why did I pick this style build right here? First, starting a lot of fires, 1%, yay. IFHE must. Why? Secondaries are getting 40 millimeter penetration, 47 millimeter. So these two guns are really monstrous. You're getting a lot of pin damage right there. 40 millimeters and 32 millimeters, kind of the same because I don't know any other ships that are between the 32, 40 millimeter range that much. It's really the 50 millimeters, the one that stops everything. The main battery guns are good. Secondary range focus, adrenaline rush, and there it is. I picked the emergency repair expert. So I picked this. I took an extra heal. I might rethink this. I think I would have picked this one better because I don't think having extra heal is better than having a better fire flood time. I don't know why I did this. Because this commander is for the Elbing. That's why. It's just, maybe I should redistribute this one and pick. So forgive me. I probably would pick the reduction of fire and flooding because why I'm brawling, right? Do I 12.5? Do minus 10% on the guns? Do I get an extra benefit of 2.8 seconds? I'd rather have better healing, and I should have taken, what is the concealment? 14.3. Now, if I took concealment off, I would get this thing out to 15.6. or what is it? 15 something, 14 points. Let me increase that. I know I'm doing this wrong. I'm just doing a rough wag math here, guys. 14.3 times 10%. Yeah, it's about 15.8, 15.7, 15.8 kilometers. Can I live with that? Yeah, because I'm going to be spotted from the moon anyways. Why not? What's an extra 1 kilometer really going to do? It destroys us to drive in 1 kilometer and makes this entire perk useless. So I might redo this one and actually get basics of survivability and fire prevention because I'm a brawling style battleship. And that's what I want. I want major protection as best I can. And all these other perks really don't benefit me because I'm getting shot at all the time. Like, while you're getting shot at the whole time, what good is this Brisk gonna do if you're getting spotted? Who cares about your guns turning when you're spotted all the time, getting shot at? And why would I pick these? Because I'm increasing my flooding and recovery time and fire time, burning time, and I'm not gonna rely on getting burning. So I don't know why I would want that I'm getting 5%. So honestly, the survivability build for battleships is what I would recommend for, especially for a GK secondary style battleship. Mecklenburg, a premium style. I think you can go buy it right now. I had these out at secondaries because I was focused on the secondaries at the time. The only thing I didn't do was take the secondary because I don't care about the reload times on the secondaries. I care about the main guns because that's what I'm shooting. I'm shooting, if you notice, these guns right here. Look at the guns. There's 16 of them. Isn't that cool? 16 guns, so I'm focused on that. I'm using those often, and there's 22.9 rec second reload. So I'm gonna take the reload times on those, and since I'm using Lucians, I have to just bite my tongue and just use the secondary focus right there. After that, adrenaline rush, concealment, and fire prevention are the only things that really benefit me. Other than these things up here, they don't really increase my gun speeds or anything like that. Maybe you can make an argument for this one, but I'd rather, I'm losing Lucian, so I'm stuck with this. So I don't have any other commander do it. Now the Schlieffen line. Now let's go on the Schlieffen line. Why? This is definitely a must. Lucian's definitely was built for Schlieffen. Why? The secondary reload times are insane on this thing. 3.2 seconds, some of the fastest reload times in the game. So let's take a look at the Prince Rupert and Schlieffen line. So Prince Rupert is right here. It's really a Schlieffen. Again, look at what Prince Rupert is. So I'm gonna say build for Prince Rupert. Here's Prince Rupert right here, right? And look at this is what Schlieffen looks like. They're almost identical. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk in the eyes of Schlieffen and knock two birds with one stone. So the Schlieffen secondary build, focus build, you can see right there, just like Ohio. And look, this is kind of like an Ohio build right here. IFHE. This only difference is IFHE. I took IFHE because why? You want to get that 32 millimeter pen. Primary focus, secondary sector, adrenaline rush. Since we're brawling, concealment, and fire prevention. Now look at the concealment. Why did I pick concealment on that? I'll tell you why. Here's the reason why. You can get it down to 12.6. When do the secondary fire guns start firing at? They fire at 12.5. So as soon as I get spotted, 12.6, let's say I'm in detection, boom, my secondaries within 0.1 kilometer start firing. I wish all battleships were like this. This is the way it should work, honestly, because if you want to basically promote brawling, make the battleships wargaming the same range as your secondaries. That's it. It's just very simple because they're spotted from the moon anyways. Why not? Okay, because I would rather have battleships reductions, their concealments reduce their secondary ranges, and you increase. That would literally increase, like not to the point of 7 kilometers, because I know some secondary battleships or some battleships have secondaries at 7 maximum. That's not what I mean. I mean, get it to about 12 to 13 range kilometers, because then it gives you a chance to go in and start pushing the brawl, encourage people to brawl. That's my thought. But having concealments out to 15 and 14, it doesn't benefit really anybody other than just, hey, cool, I get to spot a battleship and start spamming. And that's why nobody plays the battleships in anymore. All the battleships are in the back. So those are my Schlieffen and Lucian builds right there. Definitely recommend that. Hanover is, I don't have a commander for Hanover. I took it off, but Hanover is also a secondary focus, so I would build it just like a Schlieffen. Let's start working on the British Tier 10 line. So I only have the Conqueror and then Comparable. The Conqueror, the build for it is pretty much just kind of standard survivability build. You look at my Conqueror standard build for just surviving. Why? Protect the guns, reduce fire flooding. You want aim point dispersion the best you can, because if you're just using the guns, you want to be accurate with it, right? Why is this? Look at my Montana line. Do I not have that? Oh yeah, we don't get the Dispersion, maximum second. Yeah, we don't get that dispersion time in. Interesting enough. Only on the British line. Never noticed that. So you get better dispersion for a Conqueror. Why not? You're shooting from a distance. Your damage. Why not damage con? Because I don't care about these things. I'm in the back anyway, so I'm gonna get shot at by HE shells. Why not reduce the fire flooding, or reduce the fire flooding time? Concealment, maximum concealment, because anything else doesn't really help me. What does this one give me? What is this? I don't know why I did that. What does this give me? It gives me better steering and rudder. I don't care about that. And reduce the time of reload. Reload time on main battery guns, because that's the bread and butter of the ship. Just using the guns. Why not focus and build for it? Conqueror has the zombie heal right here. So you can really look at that. HP per second. Almost 2,000 HP repaired every second for 22 seconds. That's 20,000 HP almost. So you're a zombie. You can reprint the ship. You got a whole crew out there that's just rebuilding a ship in a dockyard while floating. So pretty hilarious. I had a better commander on this. I don't know why I did this. So could I? Nope. Yeah, because I was focused on DDs and like incomparable at the time. So I guess the commander build is pretty weak. How would I build this? Damage con, speed. The guns already turn pretty quick enough. I don't really care about much to it. Actually, they turn pretty slow. Look at that, 51 seconds. So would brisk, would the turning thing would really work on this? Probably, but the Conqueror, you're sitting in the back anyways, so why not? I would rather move around the map pretty quickly, 31 knots. Yeah, moving this style battleship quickly around the map is a little bit better in my personal opinion. Adrenaline Rush is always an extra heal because I'm sitting in the back. Why not? Concealment, because I'm sitting in the back, and your concealment is 12.3. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You need concealment like this for all battleships wargaming. 12.3 is perfect, especially for a Conqueror. You're going in there. And fire prevention, do I care about it? Yeah, probably. I probably want to do a survivability build, so I'll probably build this. And I like the heals of this. The bread and butter of this ship is the heals, so why not? So these don't help you really, and I'm not planning on getting caught on fire much, so why not take fire prevention? Because I can get another couple points, so I'll take this, and maybe the turning. Maybe if I have an extra point, I'll take this to grease the gears. IFHE, what does IFHE give me? Does that benefit me at all? 131 millimeter pin, I don't care about. That's too much. But let's see if I click on this. What is the turning radius? So I get it down to 43 seconds, so a little bit faster time. 8 seconds, okay, whoop-de-doo. Probably I would rather take the fire prevention, and right here, the last skill is just reducing the basic survivability. So that's probably how I would build the Conqueror right there. That's my take on that. Let me know what you think. Incomparable. Honestly, this is a gimmick ship. This is just standard build for surviving. Again, you've already seen me build the German line kind of like that for just guns. And you take a look at the incomparable standard battleship time like Conqueror, just more of guns, reducing flooding time, aiming, concealment, and main battery reload time. If you're just focused on the primary guns of the ship, this is how I build it. And it's just trying to reduce the amount of fire and flooding and just getting the main battery retime. But you can get this thing down to 10.6 kilometer reload. This is encouraging brawling. That's why I love it. I wish more battleships were like this style line. So now the other one was the Thunderer. I don't know why the Thunderer is not up here. Maybe it's not a primary, that's why. But Thunderer is also another broken ship. It's not available in the armor. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Thunderer is available anymore. But this is the OG of burning. Standard battery guns, right? Damage con battery guns, focusing on the guns. The guns reload in 22 seconds, which is really good. But when you put a commander on this thing, look at this thing. You're getting the guns down to 20.9 seconds, and the concealment is 12.3. Again, concealments are awesome in the Thunder, but guess what? You're always firing in this ship, I noticed, so you're being spotted from the moon. But what I really would focus on, I don't know why I picked Incoming Fire Alert. Probably I should pick something better, like maybe Damage Con. But I think the reason why was since I was sitting in the back, I wanted to know if someone's shooting at me so I could stop, start, and juke the shells the best I could. Speedy little battleship across the map. The guns turn pretty decent, 41 seconds, not bad. Adrenaline Rush, Damage Con, Survivability, Reduction, Flooding, Fire Floody, Extra Heal sitting in the back. Concealment, like I said, getting it down to 12.3. And Fire Prevention. So that's the style for the British style battleships. Those are pretty fun to play. They're really, what's the name of the game? Great concealment for if you want to push in and brawl. But I've noticed the biggest thing is their HE shells are great at long distance, and they just sit in the back and burn. Patrie is secondary focus, I believe. Yep, I did it because I just like watching the secondary shoot. They're just so fun. Look, 1.5 second reload on a secondary gun. Oh my gosh, this is the OG of Alsace and Jean Bart and all those fast firing guns of the secondary line of the French style battleships. I think they're really, really cool. The problem I've noticed on the French styles, these guns get knocked out so fast. So they're not like German and American secondaries where they can take punishment, but you only got 4 per side, and these appear, these 3 that are in the center line of the ship, so they fire on both sides easily. I've noticed they get knocked out really easily, so I cannot rely primarily on them. But the Patrie's 12 guns of Fury right here, but their AP shells, it's kind of like Republic style. They really slap people really hard from distance, I've noticed. But I kind of build this along the similar style of maybe secondaries because I was focused on the secondaries. With one little key difference is I wanted to get the main battery reload. Now, could I get what is 20% on 1.5? It doesn't, they're already quick enough. You don't need to get them any faster. But I need the main battery reload times to get down as fast as possible, 26.4. That's pretty good for what I want to do with this battleship. Secondary focus, this is not a good secondary brawling ship, so I wouldn't focus on that. Maybe for trolling, I'll select this just to have fun, but the range of these guns are incredible. 26.6. Now you can see this is focused on a secondary battleship style, so repair, incoming, IFHE. Again, the IFHE gets your penetrations of 21 millimeters minimum. If you didn't have this on, these things would only get up to maybe... Well, I think it was pretty low. I forgot what it is, but it's basically under 19. So it wasn't the greatest. So I needed to bump these things up to 25%. Secondary fire range is what I focus on. Adrenaline rush, survivability, and concealment. I might debate about selecting fire prevention because this 14 kilometers really help me anymore. Not really, because again, I'm spotted from the moon. So I might change this to fire prevention if I was, but I don't play this ship that much anymore. So maybe it's a brawling ship. That's maybe why I picked the concealment. I might change that, but that's what my mentality is on doing that. Heisen, I don't really play Heisen that much, but if you were going to, it's a tier 9. I did primary focused on secondaries to get this down to 10.6. And I mean, what's the Heisen in the first place? I don't think it's that great. I mean, 12 guns are slow. He's got a lot of secondaries, but are they accurate? Not really. I mean, 5 second reload time is cool, but they just don't hit anything. So I've really found that this ship was really a gimmick to get you to get it and buy it, but does it work really well? Not really, in my personal opinion. I don't play Heisen that much. What is the gimmick of the Heisen? Does it have an airstrike or something? No, it doesn't. It's just a secondary focus Japanese line, tier 9. So I bumped out the secondaries. I couldn't get the secondary fire focus. I really just took an extra hill. If looking back at it now, I probably would do the manual secondaries. Why not? And I get a good detectability, 13.7, but you know what? You're spotted from the moon anyway, so that was kind of the gimmick of the secondary. I might redo this. I think this was built for, since it's Yamamoto, I can play with it on something else. But since the Heisen's a premium, I didn't really focus on it. You can tell my attitude right now. I don't really care about the Japanese style battleship play style because I don't think the Japanese battleships right now are very good right now in the meta that is. They just get burned, so they're just target practice, honestly. That's my opinion. I don't play Yamato very much either. It's cool, but if you were going to play it, this is how I build it, because I really am in the back shooting, and I just want to protect down this whole line right here, surviving. The survivability line right here. Adrenaline rush, concealment, because this thing is spotted from the moon, and maybe fire prevention. I might take fire prevention anyways and swap these out, because concealment is trash these days. But why? Everybody spots you. That's why my mentality is, and that's my thought process. Secondary focus Yamato. Look at that, how hilarious that is. I should not do that. I should probably switch this right now to show you guys. Yes, sell those and replace it. And accuracy, because your bread and butter is the guns. Damage con, fire, concealment, and main battery reload. That's all you're doing with the guns, so why not? The turning of these guns is really slow. Look at this. 69 seconds. Hilarious. Funny number, by the way. 69. Haha, so to speak. And Yamato. Yeah, that's what I would probably recommend. I will take fire prevention once I get this thing up to a 4-point commander. That's how I would build this. Should I get the faster firing turn guns? Let's see. What would happen? It gets it down to 57. What would happen if I picked turning of the guns? Let's see. If I did the turning... 60-second turning still. That's still kind of slow. So I don't know if it really helps me. I'd rather take accuracy, but honestly, wait, what is that? What is the accuracy for? Maximum shell dispersion is 7%. What's the dispersion? 276. So let's take that. Let's take that. I know I'm wasting money here, but why not? I don't care. 256. 7% to 2. Did that change? Yeah, it did change a little bit. So yeah, I guess it did. I mean, it's a little bit better than something, right? Let's see here. Maximum shell dispersion 7%. Yeah. So why not take the accuracy of it? Did that change? 256. Should I take this turning time over dispersion? I'd rather have dispersion rather than turning because the guns are slow anyways. Yep. Fire prevention is probably the next one. So that's how I build Yamato because I'm sitting in the back anyways. Iowa class, same as Missouri. Don't need to talk about that. Iowa is just like Missouri. Using the Missouri and since I have that secondary style, I was using Halsey on it. I was just building a secondary style for the tier 9, but I really don't play Iowa because when you have Missouri, why not just take the radar over Ohio? It's just a better Iowa, in my personal opinion. Missouri is just a better Iowa because you get the radar. It's the same thing. Halsey, yeah, you can put Halsey on a Missouri. It's premium. That's why I do that. Kearsarge is the gimmick hybrid ship. I can put Halsey on this since it's a premium, I believe. Yep, there's Halsey. I did the main battery, this. Now, I bumped the secondaries out because it has so many secondaries on it. Now, look at the secondaries. Look how many secondaries it has on the ship. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the side. So I was like, let's bump them out. Might as well use them because I got airplanes as well. So I was kind of focused on everything for the ship. Like you get airstrikes, you get secondaries, you get main battery dispersion. So I was like a hybrid. This is a hybrid. I'm bumping secondaries out to 10.5. I'm getting damage con, of course, reduction. I get concealment, better gun reload. I'm sorry, better gun dispersion, that is. Main secondary battery armor says, as I'm pushing and brawling, I'm getting the secondaries out there. Faster, adrenaline rush, reduction of fire flooding, and fire prevention. And, man, this thing takes punishment. And then I've got the secondaries, the main guns firing, and then I got the airstrike going for me. And that's why I build that, because I get the best of 3 worlds. I've got 3 weapon systems on this thing. The main battery guns is a given. Secondaries when I'm in secondary range, the best I can do, and then get the airstrike. So I was like focused on almost everything in this thing. Not really a primary focus, but this is just a hybrid build for a hybrid ship. Why not? That's the meta today. St. Vincent. I have not played the St. Vincent, but the ship is like a little miniature cruiser with 3 guns in front. How do I build this? I build it more of just the Conqueror style build and Thunderer style build. Just focus on the guns. And as you can see, the build is for that of survivability. Now, I don't have a full commander, but if I did do a full commander, I would do the St. Vincent, the same style as the Conqueror and the Thunder, just for survivability, like they talked about. Oops, sorry. Thunder, we talked about Alsace. Alsace was a secondary focus, so it's kind of similar to the Patrie. If you want to look at it, Jean Bart is kind of the similar of the Alsace, so I'll use it for example. Secondary, concealment, main battery, and getting the guns out, or reduce fire flood. The reload time is 3 seconds, which is pretty darn good. If you put secondaries on it, you want to focus. The problem with the secondaries are they get blown up so easily, and their penetration is 21 millimeters because you got to build for IFHE. So here's the secondary. Now you're in the secondary range. Why not get the guns firing down to 22.9 seconds? So pretty darn quick. So if you're in secondary range, you're shooting pretty fast, and you got the fire prevention. Maybe I would have thought about if I can think about that. But the guns were so fast as it is. Why not bump them up even more? Concealment 14.3. Again, trash because concealment with the meta today. I was trying to build for survivability, maybe fire prevention, but again, I've noticed French battleships are just burned down. So why not just go in there, brawl, and get the maximum time on the guns and kill somebody as fast as possible? That's my opinion on that. Let me know what you think. Republic, same, more focused on the guns. I did have the Republic back in the day focus on the secondaries, but I've noticed that, there's only the secondaries get blown up so easily, and there's only 4 sets on each side. So again, I'll show you the Republics just like the other ones. They've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 secondaries on the side, and they get blown up pretty quickly. And then you got the centerline secondaries that don't do really much either. So are they good anymore? Not really, in my personal opinion. The Republic, the secondaries are, they're not as fun as the Ohio and, the German style line. Colombo was I think I'll end it on Colombo. I don't have any other battleships that I think I left out Kremlin. Where is he? Oh, yeah, Kremlin. Soviet style. Soviet-style battleships. I don't think I have any other Soviet ships. Yeah, Soviet. The only thing that was worth to me is Kremlin, and there's the super ship of the Kremlin out there. This one is, if I had to build it, I would build it for. Now I'll actually show you the commander in a minute. I build it for main guns because I'm sitting in the back sniping this thing, and this thing tanks like a champ. Propulsion because I wanted to start and stop with this thing because it takes forever to start and stop the Kremlin. I build a damage con, I could, but this thing tanks well just by itself. It just has so much cool armor. Reduce the main battle reload time. Now, let me take a commander. I'll show you commander. If I was going to put a commander on this thing, I think I had Kuznetsov. Let me show what Kuznetsov battleship build looks like. Battleship builds. Maybe this is not the best commander, but yeah, I did at first the emergency repair specialist, damage con cooldown, protect the guns. Turning of the guns as fast as a must. Could I do brisk? Yeah. I wanted the guns to turn fast because I was using it and AP shell, but I'm increasing my fire flood, but then these two cancel out. So I have to use this in order to cancel out this to get a better AP shell damage. Adrenaline rush, extra heal, and concealment. I don't think that's the best one. I think I have a better commander that does that. Where is it at? Whoops. There was a better commander that did a better battleship build. There it is. This is the one I would build for all my Soviet cruiser line because there's no secondary focus there. It's more for survivability down the line right there. Adrenaline rush, concealment, and then if I had to get the fire prevention expert, that's how I would probably build the style build for Germans because Kremlin and Soviet battleships because they tank so well. It's so hard to kill these things, and you're only focused on the main battery guns. So this is survive as long as possible and get the main battery guns firing. That's my opinion for the Soviet-style battleship line. And the Colombo. The last one was Colombo. I focused the Colombo on the secondaries. Why? Because look at the Colombo. The Colombo is just a funny troll build because look how many secondaries are on the side of this thing. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 secondaries all on the side. I focus. Now, do they hit anything? Not really. 4-second reload time. 15 millimeter. There it is. 15 millimeter penetration. You would have to build IFHE if you wanted to have this thing built. So let's take a look at the commander build. For this style, for battleships, yeah, I focused primarily on the secondaries to see what they would do. They don't really work, so don't follow me on that. I was just trying to do this as a troll build, but if I was going to build a Colombo for something that was more feasible that wasn't secondary, it'd probably be along the line of the survivability, and I don't think I have a commander to do that. And again, that's me. Let's see if I can show it to you. Survivability, gunning, the turn, 16 guns turning fast. So maybe you want to talk about brisk. Again, more of that Montana style build if you're focused on the guns, adrenaline rush, having extra heal or basic survivability and reduce the fire flood. Concealment's debatable. I'd rather fire prevention because you're gonna get shot at anyways. Might as well reduce it. So that I would really focus on the one right here: turning guns, speed, adrenaline rush, reducing fire flood, extra heal maybe if you want, or the fire prevention. That's what I would focus on right there. That's my opinion on the ships. Forgive me, that's a long video for me to talk right there. I was talking for almost an hour here. And that's all the battleships I have. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We're at 1,200 subscribers, on our way to 2,000. And next to small goes 1,300. It's a small stepping stone on our way to 2,000 subscribers. We're going to give away premium DD. That is our goal. And I think it's really, really cool to give away DD and to thank you guys. Can't thank you guys enough. Like, subscribe, bell button below. Appreciate the support on the channel. Hope you guys are doing well. And until next time, I'll do the next, maybe my next review of the cruiser lines to show you my builds for cruisers. And yep, that'll be my next video. And again, I hope you see you guys out there and hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.